Okay. Hey, this one is for Kelly. Her GP remotely diagnosed her with impingement of her shoulder. She's asked me to help her out, figure out what she's supposed to do about it. So this video is my best guess on what we're gonna do about it. Kelly, you need to treat this like physio or like recovery, not like a workout. I know you, I know you're gonna try to kill it. Don't kill it. Be kind to yourself. Okay, Kel, we're gonna start off with some release of your posterior shoulder. So if you grab onto like the back end of your armpit, that's what we're looking for. We're gonna use this, my dad's choice in beverage, because we're classy, as a foam roller. Obviously, if you have a foam roller, use that. If you've got any kind of rolling stuff, use that. Tennis ball that just got away from us, it gets a bit dicier, but you can do it. So what you're gonna wanna do is lay back and get your rolling implement wedged into the back end of your armpit. Arm is kind of up here somewhere, whatever works for you. But you want to kind of roll all the way to the attachment point at the top of your humerus, and then all the way down onto where it goes towards the rib cage, and just find the spots that are super tricky. So when you find the spot that is the most uncomfortable, obviously, you're going to want to hang out there for 30 seconds, 2 minutes, somewhere in that range, until you feel like it releases out. And then you're gonna have to do the other side. So that bottle for me was right about here. I'm snug right at the top end where it attaches. You find yours and do you. All right, now we're in a lie down position. We're just gonna get those arms out to like rubber arms, I like to call them. Just let the backs of your hands fall towards the floor. Your elbows are roughly shoulder height, although it doesn't really matter. I don't want you to think about it too much. I just want you to passively let this stretch happen. And then you might wanna roll your elbows down a little bit tighter into your torso, or a little bit overhead, or play with it a bit, and just notice where you get that impingement bit, where it starts to feel snug, or you compensate by pulling the shoulder up into your ear or whatever's going on over there. And just sort of let that happen for a minute or so. Just hang out and let that happen. From there, we're gonna get the arms straight up towards the ceiling, palms facing each other, and I want you to really almost exaggerate the shoulder blades sliding together and down and really gluing onto your rib cage. So we're really drawing those shoulders back. From there, all we're gonna do is pull the shoulder blades apart so there's no change in the distance between my hands, my elbows aren't bending, and then we're gonna draw those shoulder blades back together. So you may or may not get a large range of motion, but you are simply trying to protract and retract your shoulder blades. No change in your torso, so your abdominals are relatively firm, not overreacting, but they're firm. From there, you're gonna settle into something that feels like retraction. One arm goes overhead, one arm goes towards your feet, only working within a range of motion that doesn't cause any sort of elevation of the shoulders or change in the abdominal connection. Once that feels okay, you're gonna take your thumbs and do some jazz hands, and just draw both arms overhead, keeping your ribs moving down, your shoulders down and away from the ears, and just move those arms into a bit of a Y position, and then come back to your chest level. Moving to the Y, ultimately trying to tap the thumbs to the floor, and then pulling back. Nice and slow, controlled pull down. This one does not just let the gravity flop. You're actually working with your shoulder girdle. Okay, here we are hanging out on the beach in Merrill Lake. We don't get to let that happen. So we're gonna let our head rest down onto the palm of your hand, elbows bent. Ideally what you want is your spine parallel to the floor. So you have to feel like you're lifting from that bottom rib just a little bit. Pressing the knees into each other, and the hips are stacked one on top of the other. And just try to draw, again, that bottom shoulder down and away from the ear while you support the weight of your head. We're gonna reach for the ceiling. From there, again, draw the shoulder blade towards the spine, support your head as you move into rotation. Hang out there, breathe, trying to expand through the rib cage, and then use the abdominal connection to pull you back into that neutral forward-facing position. So we're reaching up, we're using the strength of our abdominals and our upper back to open up the thoracic spine, breathing, and pulling yourself back in. So we're gonna encourage some more flexibility into your thoracic spine with rotation. From there, again, still ensuring that you're in a neutral position, we're gonna let the top foot sort of pile on top of the bottom foot so your toes are touching the ground. You've got roughly this kind of bend in your hips and your knees. We're gonna ensure that top hip stays right up on top of bottom hip. And you're just gonna do that clamshell exercise. So we're gonna lift from the top knee, keeping the top toes stuck to the floor, and then draw the leg back down. So ultimately you're trying to elevate the knee as high up off of the bottom one as you can without allowing your body to tip back or compensate in any other way. Lifting and lowering, and I want you to aim for somewhere between 12 to 20 of these clamshells and somewhere between 6 and 12 rotations on each side. All right, Kel, we're gonna strengthen up those shoulders a little bit. This is nitpicky little movement patterns. So we did this in the Lily workout, but I want you to focus in a little bit differently because I'm more familiar with the way you move than the way Lily moves. So you're taking your trusty beverage bottle and or a weight. You're gonna want it lighter than you think you can do a lateral raise. Trust me on that one. So you're gonna take your arm, it's bent, spread out hands stuck to the wall so that you can brace yourself in a standing neutral plank. From there, I want you to feel like you're pushing your hand up the wall without actually going anywhere. Engages into the outside hip. So we're gonna take the inside leg up off the floor. You wanna try to get as much activity through all of this stuff as you can, just standing here. From there, your palm's gonna face either forward or down, and you're just moving into a lateral raise. We're not getting the weight any higher than shoulder height. And you're just moving through that lateral raise, but thinking, yes, about the movement on the weighted side, but also about maintaining that strong connection from the hand through the shoulder, across your torso, into the hip and down into your big toe. Synergistic movement patterns. Throwing that in for you. Okay, rows, I get it, we all do rows, but I don't want you to, again, reminder, this isn't a workout. Think of it more like physio, focusing only on the movement between your shoulder blades. So we're gonna get those rhomboids working. I'm anchored roughly belly button height. We just don't want it too high or too low, whatever works. I like resistance tubing. I don't want you to do this with dumbbells. I love tubing. The resistance bit is the right kind of movement. Standing up nice and tall. Again, we're gonna almost exaggerate that depression of the shoulder. So I really want you to feel like your serratus is working to glue those shoulder blades in place. Your abs are working, your glutes are working, you're pushing into only your big toe and your little toe. From there, keeping the elbows snug into your torso, you're gonna pull the shoulders back first, and then retract those shoulder blades as aggressively as you can, coming back out, opening the shoulder, right? So we're not gonna collapse in every time. Your end result is still that retracted shoulder with an externally rotated humerus-ish. Again, as you pull back, we want to avoid opening up the rib cage. So we're staying nice and connected through the abdominal wall. Yeah. Last go. We're gonna do some external rotation at the shoulder. We could do this all day, and lots of people mess it up. And I am going to say that Brent Brookbush taught me that. His certification process is amazing. You should do it. We should all do it. Anyway, back to the point at hand. Again, standing plank, everything is relatively active. We're gonna draw those elbows up to shoulder height. Pinkies facing away from you. So again, the palms are facing each other. And really, again, exaggerate that depression and internal rotation of the shoulder girdle. We're gonna keep the elbows right where they are, and you just windshield wiper those arms externally. Windshield wiper and come back to center. You'll notice that I am not awesome at this. This is my new favorite standing around doing nothing movement, as my husband Phil can attest to. Once this feels okay and you feel like you can do 12 to 20 without any problem, you can start to progress it, and you can find yourself into a bit of a wall plank and still doing that same motion. Strong through the glutes and abdominals to make sure that you're bracing properly, still working through drawing the shoulder blades down and back, really gluing them to the rib cage. Windshield wipers! What we tried to do to reduce any kind of shoulder impingement or dysfunction is increase the strength and ability of the rhomboids to retract your shoulder blades, increase your activity of your serratus anterior, decrease the lats overactivity, and just generally open up your thoracic spine and increase the movement that you have available to you in a healthy shoulder joint. So Chelsea, you might want to try this one. Let me know if it works for you. Maybe it works for everybody, because the likelihood of people needing to increase their external rotation of the shoulder is pretty darn good when we do this all day. So you want to try to aim for the movements that feel like work. You're aiming for 12 to 20 repetitions. And the stuff that feels releasey, like you're sort of stretching and just increasing your synovial fluid through your joint, you just do that 6 to 8 times until you feel like you can dance it out in a relatively fun manner. Again, I want to thank Brent Brookbush for giving me all this amazing information. It's keeping me sane through this whole COVID thing, because I can sit for hours and learn about anatomy and movement patterns, and it is so exciting. Have fun with it. Let me know what you think.